My plans for the future at this point are to finish my degree. I'm currently hoping to transfer to Cal State Long Beach in next fall. I want to get my Bachelor's of Fine Arts in printmaking, and I hope to also get my Master's of Fine Arts in printmaking or in visual arts. Hopefully I'll be going to somewhere in New York, preferably Columbia, maybe Pratt Institute. Somewhere on the East Coast. I really would like to go somewhere else for grad school. I really don't think you should do both degrees in the same area. As for growth and just for experience, I think it's better to go somewhere else. Within the printmaking world, I mean, for my school, where I go, I've gotten some acclaim for where I go. I'm at community college, so for me to be exhibiting at larger venues is a big deal. But I also have colleagues that are too, so I don't feel like it's that out of the ordinary. I think that nowadays you really have to strive for more if you really want to make it as an artist than you would have maybe 20 years ago. So I think it's just, I don't know, I guess it's reassuring.
No, when I started in 2000, I had no intention of shooting film. I thought I want a digital camera. You know, I had Photoshop. I was a graphic artist. You know, I was a computer animator. So it was just natural for me to, and I hated darkrooms. I hate them passionately because I used to work at JPL, Jet Propulsion Lab. And part of the job involved going up to Palomar Observatory. And we were taking photos of the night sky and then processing them, and it was incredibly boring processing. There was no art to it whatsoever. You need 5 minutes in here, 30 seconds in here, you know, 4 minutes in here, hang them up, you're done. And I'd do that for sometimes 4 hours a night, you know, being trapped in. I learned to hate dark rooms, so film was not an option. Yeah, all digital. I've always been fascinated by image processing and that kind of stuff. It started out at JPL, back to JPL. I learned a lot from the guys in the digital image lab, which is right next to our lab. I go in there and see these pictures, kind of ugly pictures of space. Then all of a sudden they'd process them and you'd see this amazing stuff. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. You know, you can bring out those details mathematically. I thought that was really cool. So I think that was part of it when I started playing in Photoshop. It was to see what I could do, you know, see what I could do with these images, what I could bring out, you know.
So I came back to the States, started working again with the internet company that I was working with, and I just was not satisfied at that point. I was ready to move on. I was ready for a change and was looking for a reason to move back to Europe. And so, long story short, I threw out the fleece to find out whether or not I could actually do this, and I got accepted by both schools in Florence. And through a series of phone calls and just kind of waiting lists, etc., I decided to go with Angel Academy because I could get in sooner than I could with the Florence Academy. I could get started faster. And so I was very satisfied with the training that I received in Florence. It pushed me well beyond what I ever imagined. I never expected I was going to be able to paint in the manner that I paint now. And really so much of that does come down to the training and understanding the principles of composition, the principles of, you know, applying the paint. And you know, I talked to so many other artists that have been painting for, you know, 10, 15, 20 years. Met some guys very recently that he was 22 years he's been painting. His work is very nice, and we were talking about how, you know, early on I was, and he was looking at my work, and he couldn't believe that I'd only been painting professionally for 2.5 years. And I was like, well, he's like, yeah, I'm wondering what you're going to be like in 20 years. So, and that's kind of another thing that I just sit there and I think about, like, well, what am I going to be able to do in 20 years, you know? It's a long ways out there, you know, but yeah, you know, it's exciting to think about, so.
So out of graduate school, I moved back here, and I had 1 year where I didn't get any jobs. And actually, I bought myself a suit, and I was walking around like trying to get a loan officer position. And apparently I wasn't good enough. My master's degree in ceramics didn't qualify me to sail loans. But then I was stoked. I landed the job at Chaffey College. Vincent Suez, my undergraduate professor, introduced me to Crispin Gonzalez, who was the head professor at Chaffey. And so I interviewed with him, and he gave me my first adjunct, which was incredible. I was so stoked to just be back in the studio teaching. And so I taught there. And then the following year, I landed this tech position at Saddleback College, which is a full-time 35-hour-a-week position. And then this year I'm teaching at Saddleback College. So it's nice to be at one location finally. Well, definitely, you know, like I look ahead and, you know, I'd like to I'd like to have a show in New York. I would like to have a show in LA. Those are on the radar for sure. How to go about doing that, that's always the mystery, right? But yeah, you know, I'd like to land a tenure track position at some point. That's definitely a priority of mine. Other than that, it's like the key is to make work and then just to make sure I'm smiling every day. You know, that's my goal, really.